Before the waters moved, something had to break. The people of Israel had been slaves in Egypt for over 400 years. 400 years of hard labor, pain, and tears. They built cities for a king who didn't even see them as human. But God saw them, and God had a plan. He chose a man named Moses, a simple shepherd who once lived in a palace but ran away into the desert. Moses wasn't a great speaker. He didn't feel special. But one day, a bush caught fire in the middle of the desert, and it didn't burn up. Moses walked closer, and a voice spoke from that fire. "I have seen the suffering of my people. Go, bring them out of Egypt." Moses was terrified. He said, "Who am I to do this?" But God said, "I will be with you." So Moses went back to Egypt, the place he had run from, and stood before the most powerful man in the world, Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And Moses said simply, "Let my people go." If you want to see how faith moves mountains, or in this case, oceans, make sure you subscribe and follow along. This story is just getting started. Pharaoh laughed. He said no, and then he made life even harder for the Israelites. More work, less rest. The people were angry. Even Moses felt the weight of it. But God didn't give up. He sent 10 plagues on Egypt, one by one. The river turned to blood. Frogs covered the land. Darkness fell for 3 days. And still, Pharaoh's heart stayed hard. He kept refusing to let the people go. But then came the final night, the most solemn and powerful moment. God told Moses that something would pass over Egypt, something that would finally make Pharaoh listen. The Israelites were told to mark their doors, gather their families, and be ready to move quickly. They ate a meal, standing up, dressed for travel, because freedom was coming before morning. And it did. That night, something shifted across all of Egypt. A cry rose up from every home, from the palace to the streets. Pharaoh, broken and shaken, called for Moses, and with tears in his eyes and fear in his voice, he said the words Israel had been waiting generations to hear. "Go, leave, take your people and go." And just like that, they were free. Over 2 million people, men, women, children, elderly with their animals and their belongings, walking out of Egypt in the middle of the night. It must have been a most emotional moment in their history. People who had never known freedom were taking their first steps as free people. But freedom doesn't mean the battle is over. Pharaoh woke up the next morning, and his heart changed again. He thought, "Who will build my cities now? Who will do the work?" He called his army together, 600 chariots, soldiers, horsemen, and he chased after Israel like a storm. The Israelites were walking through the desert when they heard it, the thunder of hooves, the rumble of wheels. They looked back and saw the Egyptian army coming toward them, fast and furious. Then they looked forward, and there it was, the Red Sea, deep, wide, and going nowhere. They were trapped. The people panicked. They cried out to Moses. Some even said, "Why did you bring us out here to die? At least in Egypt, we were alive." Can you feel that? The fear, the confusion, the exhaustion. They were so close to freedom, and now it felt like it was all over. But Moses stood up, and in one of the most powerful moments in the entire Bible, he said these words, "Do not be afraid. Stand still, and watch what God will do for you today." Stand still. 2 words that require everything from you. When the army is behind you, the sea is in front of you, and there's no visible way out. Stand still and trust. The people didn't fully understand what was about to happen. They couldn't see it yet. They just had to hold on for one more moment. The cloud that had been leading them moved behind them, standing between Israel and the Egyptian army like a wall. And in the darkness, Moses stretched his hand over the water. The wind began to blow, and the sea began to move. The waters parted, walls of water rising up on both sides, and a dry path appeared right through the middle of the sea. The people walked through on dry ground. Every man, woman, child, and animal safe, protected, delivered. That is the miracle. But here is the lesson behind the miracle. Before the sea ever parted, the people had to face their greatest fear. They had to stand at the edge of the impossible and choose trust over panic. The miracle came after the moment of surrender. Whatever you're facing right now, that impossible situation, that thing you can't see a way through, You might be at your own Red Sea moment, trapped between what's behind you and what's in front of you. But maybe, just maybe, you're standing exactly where the miracle is about to happen. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And subscribe, because there is so much more of this journey left to tell.